What's up out there? We are back with some more Path of Exile 2, and I'm going to do my best to get through this video. I don't know how many times I've recorded this over the last few days. I get lost in the sauce, as it were, and I am going to do my best to just get through this as quickly and efficiently as possible. Path of Exile 2 is an amazing game. I have 50 hours into it. My level 47 Titan, I've got him to the first ascendancy, is through into Act 1 Cruel. I have very much enjoyed the campaign. The graphics are great. The animations are great. The sound effects are great. The story, I love the story. I can't wait to see where everything goes. The complaints that I have is that they need to tighten some things up, like the salvage bench. Disenchanting and identification of items needs to just move over to here. Stop messing around. Just move it all into one, make it a one-stop shop. For instance, you portal in here, you have to walk over to this well, you have to go to the Hoodwin, you have to go way over there to the salvage bench, go talk to her, go hit the stash. Maybe you portal back and forget that you swapped a flask out. Now you got to portal back here to go talk to the well. I think the well is an incredible waste of time. I think this thing needs to go away. In Path of Exile 1, you go to town, everything refills, and it's done. This is a reverse quality of life. This thing just needs to go. I'm a little bit torn on the map size and movement speed as I play the game, and as I'm able to move forward in the game, I'm enjoying myself. When I get stalled out somewhere, like in Act 2, I got stalled out on this dreadnought. I couldn't even get out of the starting gate with this thing. So I had to go back into the earlier part of Act 2 to try to drum up some gear that I could disenchant or whatever, find some new gear, drum up some currency, get some XP or something like that. And I found that going back into these areas was kind of exhausting and I didn't want to do it anymore. I noticed in Act 1 that the maps were more of a circle or a square where you could just kind of go around the outside, find the entry to the next area, get its waypoint, come back, and then finish these off. In Act 2, some of these were more of a hand where you'd go out to this point, you'd find that you'd have to backtrack, go out to this point, backtrack. That kind of stuff sucked. Act 3, some of the maps were fairly large and they just kept going on and on and on. And I'm like, man, I just want to be done with this and move on. So I'm torn. I very much like the campaign. I very much like the game. I like a lot of the things that they have. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of things that I don't like. I don't like any of the skills early on. Up until I got Sunder and Volcanic Fissure, I could not make a build that I liked. I did not like any of these skills. Rolling Slam did a lot of damage, but it's very up close and personal. Molten Blast had a range to it, not like a projectile, but you could send it, well, it is a projectile, but you could send it out and hit stuff remotely and get it far away. The combination of having a very slow skill and a fairly quick skill was good, which is even better with Sunder and Volcanic Fissure, the way I've got my build going. But I just did not like or vibe with any of these skills early on at all. Didn't like any of them. I do like the fact that I can go into this system and not have to resocket and recolor everything to swap. You don't know how many different iterations I did. I was just constantly swapping stuff. I could not get happy with my build. And on the passive tree, I changed a number of things. Like I spec'd into Mass Hysteria at one point, backed out of all that. Spec'd into Blood Rush for a minute, backed out of all that. I was over here into Admonisher for a minute, I backed out of that. So I've made a lot of changes, and this is kind of where I'm at now. There's only one mace section over here. I've been pushing into stuff that does a lot of things with stun. That's why I'm going to go into Titanic and stuff like that. I did try to go over here to Giant's Blood to wield a two-handed mace with one hand, but it triples your attribute requirements, and I wasn't able to get triple the strength, so that'll be a later game thing at some point, but I did try it. But overall, I don't want to say that this has been a very mixed experience because it's been largely very positive, but I would say the fatiguing elements that this game has very much way up there with all the positive things that I feel about it. So maybe with more time or something, maybe if they make some changes like getting rid of this stupid well and consolidating things around the salvage bench, maybe some of that stuff would improve my overall experience with this. But largely I'm very positive. It's just that sometimes I get exhausted playing this. A case in point was when I got stuck here and having to replay all that. I think I mentioned that already. But then today when I was playing, or last night when I was finishing up my play session for the day, I finished on the waterways. I think the waterways went on for far too long. I wasn't tired. I just wanted to be done playing. There was no waypoint. There was way too many of the little levers you had to click. It just kept going on and on and on. And I'm like, man, I just want this over with. And then today when I woke up, I started with the Drowned City. There were monsters that were freezing me or had these massive AoE on death effects that were very frustrating and almost caused me to quit 20 minutes into my play session today, a fresh play session. So some of this stuff just kind of goes on for far too long. If I haven't mentioned it yet, I have 50 total hours in the game, 28 hours with this warrior. When I beat Path of Exile 1, I beat it in like 40 hours with a witch, and I died a lot through that campaign. But I always felt like I was having fun and I wanted to keep going forward with it. And I always felt like I could just keep pressing on. When I get stalled out in here and I'm frustrated with all the skills that I don't like and that the maps take forever and my character moves really slow, it really gets that fatigue factor built up fairly high. I'm curious to see how going through acts 1 through 3 again feel and then see how the mapping feels. I see a lot of people stalling out saying that the maps are too big. You move too slow and it just kind of gets old. So I don't necessarily see this changing all that much, but I think I want to wind all of this up, whatever this conversation is. I've recorded this so many times and I just can't quite get what I want to say out, but I think I want to wind this up with a hopeful note. Let's just call it that. I want to see what Grinding Gear Games does with this. I want to see with what they do with the feedback that they get. There's been a lot of feedback for sure. There's been a lot of people that praise the game. There's a lot of people that have had various issues with the speed of it, the size of the maps, the grindy nature that it can kind of be. I've definitely experienced a lot of the negative of it. I've also experienced a lot of the positive. I think the story is fantastic. I definitely want to see where this goes. I think I'm going to take a couple of days off of it. I think I've got a vacation coming up in another week here for Christmas and New Year's. I think I'm going to go play Stalker. I planned on playing this. I think I actually want to take some time off of PoE and get away from it completely and then come back fresh, finish off Act 1, 2, and 3 again with my warrior, and then get into the mapping section and then go from there. So that's probably going to be something I do on my vacation, but I definitely want to take some time away from this, and it's because of the fatiguing nature this has. But I'm very hopeful and very positive, let's just say that Grinding Gear Games is going to do the best for this game. I think they have a really good vision with this. I want to see them do their vision for this game and then react on that. I don't want to drastically change this game. I definitely don't want this to become Path of Exile 1. I would love to see certain aspects of this game put into Path of Exile 1, like in the tree here, being able to hold control over this and see that this node affects these skills positively or negatively in some way. I want that in PoE 1. I don't necessarily want this skill gem system in PoE 1. I think that skill gem system is fine for there. I like the two being distinct and different. But I want to let them cook on this game and let see where they go. I'm very excited for the rest of the acts. I don't know that I want to replay this a whole lot. I don't have that replay factor yet. We got the patch for this where there was a patch the other day and I got stuck in a validation cycle with Steam. So I went back and played PoE 1 for a little bit, instantly right on board, ready to play. No regrets. It was like I hadn't stopped playing at all. This game, I find it kind of hard to get back into at times. I find it hard to have long play sessions with it. And I get fatigued out because of some of the things I talked about earlier, the map size, having to go all these different stations, especially in here. Things are just too spread out. The maps are too big, that kind of stuff. So I want to let them cook. I want to see where things go. And I definitely want to get the story. I will at least finish the full story and try the first league that they do and then see what kind of feedback or see what they do with all the feedback they've received and where they take where this game goes. So at any rate, I am through all of the main campaign that we have for now. I will come back to this. I plan to take some time off, just kind of get away from it, deflate from it, and then see where they go with everything. Hopefully we get more acts soon. I'd love to, I really want the rest of this campaign. And I'm almost ready to one and done it and move on and do something else for a little while. So I do want to take a little bit of a break. But overall, I'm very optimistic that this game is going to be just amazing. And it's been kind of a mixed bag. It's been frustrating, more frustrating than I anticipated. Like, there's nothing that I think straight up sucks. I think all the boss fights are awesome. There's not one boss fight that I don't look forward to. In Path of Exile 1, there's certain boss fights I just don't enjoy, and maybe I'll get there with this game at some point, but I think all the boss fights are really well done. I think the level design is really well done, over not the size of them, but like the aesthetics and the all the set pieces and all that stuff. Like, there's so much good about this game, but there's some things that are weighing it down and making it very frustrating at the same time. So anyway, that is hopefully a good video. I've recorded this like 30 or 40 times so far. I just can't quite get what I want to say out. So hopefully this is the take and that is the video. But I'm waiting to see what comes out of this. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.